Hi there, Zam here with Nerd Nation, and I'm here with Ray. How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, thank you very
Also
much.
known as
Pleasure
Mon.
to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, thank you very much, Ray. It's always a pleasure to have you. Ray and I have got together because we're going to talk about the MCU villains that are still alive. Now, there are a whole bunch of people, including the most recent in Agatha Harkness, and that's the person we're going to start off talking about first. But there's more villains alive than you realize, so we're going to start talking about them. So here we go. First one is Agatha Harkness. Now, we've this one's still fresh in our minds because we've both watched One Division. This will be spoilers for One Division, so if you haven't seen it, too bad. But let's talk about Agatha Harkness now. She was transformed into a nosy neighbor, into Agnes, by the Scarlet Witch, and the last thing she said was to Wanda. Wanda said to her, "I'll see you around, Agnes," and Agnes said, "Not if I see you first, hun."
So you first.
Yeah, almost like a veiled threat, as Eric Voss said from New Rockstars. So, in my opinion, we will see Agatha again. She is a villain, so to speak, but I don't think she'll come back in villain capacity. She has been known to be a anti-hero sort of grey area character who's sometimes done villainous things, but has sometimes been the person to help. So, if she does come back, how do you think we will see her and in what capacity, Ray?
Uh, Given that there's a bit of a feud starting to build between the two of them, I can. I don't think the MCU is going to be following comic book timelines where she was kind of the helper or the assistant. I can see perhaps uh, a little exposure in the next Doctor Strange film, where she kind of gets out of her trance and stops being the nosy neighbor. I think that could be a nice kind of in way to getting some more friction between Wanda and Agnes.
I do, I do feel that something is going to break Agnes out of her spell, so to speak. Maybe something in the multiverse of madness or something like that. I don't think necessarily Wanda will be the person to get her out of her hex, but I don't think we'll be seeing Agnes too soon. But we'll definitely see her soon enough, if you know what I mean. But we've been speaking about
Completely.
we've spoken about Agnes a lot. She's just we've just seen her. She's just left us. I'm more interested in people like Vision and obviously Wanda herself and see where they're going. But let's just see where these other villains are going. So the first one I want to start off with is somebody who was in the second movie within the MCU, which was the Hulk film with Edward Norton. And this character of Abomination was played by Tim Roth. Now, if you recall in that film, Hulk and Abomination were fighting on top of a rooftop, and then Hulk ended up like choking out, not strangling, but choking out Abomination with a huge chain. Do you remember that?
Vaguely. I mean, I've seen that film like maybe once or twice, and I distinctly remember seeing a more Tim Rothy like abomination towards the end.
Okay. Well, Abomination did survive his ordeal, so it looks like he's probably going to come back. I've seen some rumors regarding the She-Hulk series that would be the place for him to come back. It seems the most ideal place for him to come back if he is going to come back. He is one of Hulk's main villains. She-Hulk would be a good, obviously adversary for him. It'd be nice to see Tim Roth, voice this character again. It'd be good to see him back in
When
the
you
MCU again.
mentioned that, I was
What's
just
that?
thinking, as too much time passed, started thinking about perhaps recasting. Because I'd like to see Tim Roth come back to it, because he's an excellent actor.
Well, he's only doing the voice, isn't he? So, because Abomination can't really go. He's so mutated. There's no way he can ever go back to how he was. You know.
Okay,
So
that'd be
I
nice and easy for them.
Yeah. So I think he's remaining in this particular form. But that's Abomination. I personally think we'll see him back in She-Hulk. I don't miss him, but I will look forward to his comeback when he does come back. So who's next on this list? Oh, the other person in the Hulk, the leader. Do you remember him?
Yep. So the last time we see him, he's full mad scientist mode on the floor. He's getting the super serum dripped on his head, and things are starting to change for him.
Yeah, exactly. And he smiled as well. I do recall he had a cheeky smile, like, "Yeah, I'm loving this shit. I'm loving this shit falling on my head. This feels good." But we never saw him again. And this now, what happened to him? I think MCU timeline wise is, it's been more than a decade since what's happened to him has happened to him. So where the hell is he, and what is he up to, and when will we see him again? What do you think, Ray?
I'm just wondering, are there any contractual reasons why we wouldn't see any Hulk villains? Because so far, Hulk's only had his story continue as an extra character in other movies, and we haven't seen any other Hulk villains. I'm wondering, is it Universal that holds the rights? Are they kind of blocking the way for Hulk villains to come back and take center stage?
I don't know exactly how it works with the contracts, but like someone like Spider-Man, for instance. Spider-Man is owned by Sony, but I believe they can still do Spider-Man television shows. Marvel can, because Spider-Man is only owned by Sony for them to do movies.
Well, I mean, we've seen Sony license out the villains like Vulture, for instance.
Yeah, but that was in the Spider-Man. That was in the Spider-Man movie.
I think we will see more, but I'm just wondering, has Universal kind of got the same kind of grounds with the MCU?
I don't know.
If they do, it'd be brilliant to see.
Well, we are getting
as a more developed character.
We are getting She-Hulk. Don't forget that, and that's in the MCU. So I'm not so sure regarding. I mean, maybe things are changing a little bit now. I don't know how many of the properties or characters that is Universal owns. Is it just Hulk, or does it include all the supporting cast of Hulk as well as his rogues gallery? Because, for instance, Sony, they don't just own Spider-Man. They own, Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn, all the bad guys. Say again.
Colonel Ross, who was the
Thunderbolt Ross.
He's the guy in charge of the super serum. We see him a few times. We see him in Civil War.
Yeah, I agree.
Endgame, was it? For a brief appearance, so perhaps.
Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross is an interesting one, and you do bring up a good point there. Like I said, I'm just not so sure. When it comes to all these contracts, I guess they're all different for different people. But once again, this particular character, they have to. I say they have to bring him back, but they haven't. And just because I want them to bring him back doesn't mean they will. But this will always be a gaping hole within the MCU if they don't do something with this guy, because people are going to wonder what the fuck's going on with him. I mean,
I was thinking about Hulk's development. Now that he's kind of embodying the Professor Hulk character, it would be good to see another cerebral type villain to kind of create a challenge for him.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I'll scroll in the wrong thing here. Okay, let's go down. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, my bad. Why is it not working? Come on. There we go. Alright. Now, Sam Rockwell is an awesome actor. He's really good. He's so good at everything when it comes to acting. He's so good at comedy, and he can do the serious stuff as well. And he plays a very comedic villain in Justin Hammer, a poor man's Tony Stark, without a doubt. But he's not dead. He's still breathing. He got arrested at the end of Iron Man 2. I'm sure he's still around. I do think we'll see him. And I think we'll see him in Armor Wars with Rhodey's show. I feel like Rhodey obviously was dealing with Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2 because he got his suit initially kitted up by Justin. You remember he had the ex-wife. I'm gonna get him with the ex-wife.
What a fizzle that was.
Exactly. He's more of a. When I say villain, I mean he's your corporate bad guy villain. And maybe he's not trying to be a villain, but because he's such a fuck up, like he deals with bad people, like Mickey Rourke's character, Whiplash, that he might as well be a villain. Um,
It's interesting you say that because when you look at Iron Man 1, and the main villain in that one is Jeff Bridges.
mhm.
Is it Jeff Bridges?
Yes, it was.
I mean, when it comes to corporate type villainy person, he had more than menacing.
Yeah, he was the cold-hearted
face.
corporate villain. You got the sniveling corporate villain like
And that's
Justin.
where Justin Hammer
Yeah,
comes in, with
there's
the
a
more sniveling. So
yeah.
if we do see him again, it will be because someone else gets him out of Dodge to kind of take advantage maybe of some of his connections, rather than
Oops, where did it go?
Justin Hammer himself being powerful enough or ingenious enough to get himself out.
It's back. Can you see it, by the way?
You're a bit too high up with the picture. There we go.
All right, I'm gonna scroll down now. So that's Justin Hammer. I think Armor Wars. Okay, let's see if I can not butcher this name. George. Like it's got S at the end. George's Batroc. Batroc. How you say it?
Seems good.
Do you remember?
Seems good.
Do you remember this guy?
He was a fleeting person in the movie. It was like blinking, you miss it.
Yep.
And was it back in Captain America: Winter Soldier?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Indeed, it was Captain America: Winter Soldier, and he was one of the first people Captain America fought. He wanted to fight Captain America without the shield, on the ship. He told Captain America, I want to just take you on one-on-one, see who's better. Captain America puts the shield on his back, and then he became Captain America's bitch.
It was a short but sweet.
He was never going to beat Captain America because Captain America was not only a better fighter than him, he was far superiorly stronger than him. There was no chance in hell,
Don't you think Captain America kind of toned it down a little bit to give him a hope, like a little run jump, give him a head start?
possibly.
A couple of punches
Because
and then I'm tired of this now. And just flattened him.
one punch from Captain America should kill this guy. We're talking about a man who was able. We were talking about a man who was able to hold onto a helicopter with one arm. You know what I mean? So, and we're talking about a man who's able to rip a log in half. You know what I mean? So a punch from Captain America should kill this guy. He should be, but apparently people want him back. I don't know why. I mean, he's got that sort of fancy sort of capoeira, very acrobatic martial arts sort of style. And I think that's quite prominent as well. It goes with the parkour sort of style. He's not saying he's like a evil version of Captain America, but maybe if he was stronger, he could possibly give Captain America a better shot. Who knows? But the fact that this guy's on this list, and this list is from Screenwrite, by the way, as you can see, I'm kind of surprised because he's a forgotten man, and I want to start forgetting about him now. All right. Trevor Slattery and the real Mandarin. Now, Trevor Slattery is obviously the fake Mandarin, expertly played by Ben Kingsley on both counts, whether he was playing the Mandarin as well as Trevor Slattery. But it did leave a bad taste in people's mouths. I didn't mind it too much, but I can truly appreciate why some people did, and I do not hold it against them. I do not hold it against them that they had a problem with this. I just don't have that same problem with it. But MCU realized, or Marvel's realized, that they need to rectify this shit. So the Mandarin will be back, or he will make his appearance in Shang-Chi. But Trevor Slattery,
It won't be Ben Kingsley, though.
no, it won't be. It'll be.
They killed him off.
No, he's not dead.
No, they were MCU did a short film.
I seen the short film. All they did was like they pointed a gun at him and told him to walk into a room like they were taking him somewhere. But they never. There was no shot. There was no sound of a gunshot. Nothing along those lines. He's not necessarily dead. I don't think he's dead, personally, and
My bad.
I would love to see him in Shang-Chi if we do see him again. Because what better place to see the fake Mandarin than alongside the real Mandarin who wants to get some shit back at the fake one. So it would make sense for him to appear in that particular film. That's Trevor Slattery. Regarding the Mandarin itself, I mean, he's mentioned in this list, but the Mandarin hasn't made his appearance, so he hasn't survived death, so to speak, like some of these other bad guys we're going to be talking about. He's yet to appear. But Trevor Slattery, he is a bad guy. For fuck's sake, this guy took drugs so he could pretend to be a fucking terrorist. He's no fucking angel.
The only problem I have with the Mandarin is the way the MCU keep dredging him up. Iron Man 1, you have a Mandarin-like character. There's a villain in there, or the person that captured him had the rings on, and they kind of presented him as a Mandarin. And then in Iron Man 3, you kind of got the fake Mandarin. So whatever they do, I'm looking forward to it. But they need to do something to rectify all those misdirects from the beginning and kind of give us a proper storytelling.
I agree. But I think this time around we will definitely get that. I just want to see Trevor Slattery back as well, because even though people didn't like the fact that he wasn't the Mandarin, I do like Trevor Slattery, and let's hope Ben Kingsley is still around to do this. All right, let's move on.
Do you think that they're going to bring in some magic?
Yeah, without doubt. Yeah.
Comic book wise, he's supposed to have powers, or at least
Yeah.
he's supposed to get
And magic is already established in the MCU, so I have no problem with them bringing magic now.
So does that mean they can kind of use him in conjunction with Scarlet Witch or maybe Sorcerer Supreme?
I'm sure those crossovers will eventually, but I can't see some of that shit happening for a good 5 years. Yeah, like they gotta get their films out first, and there's a whole new like roster of characters who have to take on the mantle of retired and died Avengers characters. So I think that will happen first, and then we'll start seeing some more crossover. All right, so let's move on. Aisha, yes, I think I'll name him Adam. That was at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. She was creating Adam Warlock. This is a very forgettable woman. She's obviously she's obviously evil because she has a, sophisticated British accent, and you're a bad guy in that particular circumstance for American audiences. So I don't give a shit about this character. I if she's gonna come back, it's Guardians 3, pretty much. I can't think of anything else.
She was pretty forgettable. They need to do something to rectify that. She's a villain only in name, not by anything she's done.
Well, she's come from a cruel sort of race of people who are very arrogant and up their own arse. So in that sense, she's looked upon as a villain. Whilst because the Guardians are quite easygoing, they're quite laid back.
I mean, the worst thing that's happened because of her, as a side kind of thing, is Wandu getting killed off because of her interference, sending over her troops to kind of get involved to take revenge for the battery being stolen. So that's the only thing you could really attribute to her, not even directly, indirectly. And so we need something more.
Well, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, her being on this list from Screen Rant, just maybe they're just obviously trying to fill in some additional space here, but she's yet to become more villainous for me to even think about her. So Guardians of the Galaxy 3, hopefully this Adam Warlock thing will fucking bring her to another level. She definitely is a bad guy, but she's fucking forgettable. And like the previous one, who I've already forgotten who the fuck that was, I want to forget about this person too. Let's move on. Alright, we're coming to my favourite bad guy in the MCU, Helmut Zemo. Helmut Zemo, for fuck's sake. Alright. This is the first of the MCU bad guys not to only survive, but also to win against the Avengers. Yes, and I'm so happy that he's coming back in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We know he's coming back. There's not much more to go on about him. We will see him again in Falcon and Winter Soldier, that is for sure. The actor who played him was really good. His reasons was really good. He was a broken man, but he was also a man with many skills. You know, I would like to see him. I would like to see him and Bucky. I'm looking forward to him and Bucky reuniting in Falcon and the Winter Soldier because this guy, you know, like it's like I feel really sorry for Bucky. He's such a tragic character. Like he was a Nazi fucking. He was used by the Nazis, then he was used by the Soviets, and then he's become this assassin and stuff. He's killed Tony Stark's parents and stuff like that. And just when he's trying to just lay low and shit, Emmett Zemo uncovers this mind control thing about him and makes him into a fucking mindless killer again. And I feel Bucky's definitely got some fucking payback against this geezer. That's for sure. But I really, really, really hope that even though he's in Falcon and Winter Soldier, they don't fucking kill this guy off. He is too good of a mastermind villain, And I love the fact he's just a human being, dude. He's no fucking galaxy warrior from space who's not only strong but clever. He's just a simple guy who's really smart, and he outfought the entire fucking Avengers. It's just brilliant. I love this character. I cannot wait to see him again and see what he does with that purple mask on and shit like that. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him again in the Falcon Winter Soldier. What do you have to say, Ray?
I think he's one of these villains that deserves a reoccurring spot. He needs to be the spanner in the works anytime something big's coming on. And just like he was in Winter Soldier, he was a spanner in everyone. I mean, to plan ahead to kind of disrupt the power in Germany so that he could get access to Bucky privately. I mean, how long do you have to plan out something like that? And how much do you have to hate? And what does that type of hate do to you? And the one thing the MCU does well is it tackles emotional states and kind of gives the audience the view or the ride, and that guy's got more to give.
Yeah, I could not wait for Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm looking forward to his performances. So who's next? Oh, Dormammu. Ray, I'm here to bargain. I'm not sure if we will see him back, to tell you the truth. This is one character who made a deal with Stephen Strange, and there's a difference between being villainous and honorable, and even like what he does. He's such a next level being that he just looks at human beings like ants. You know what I mean? It's like he's just next level. So I do believe that at the same time that he will honor his bargain with Stephen Strange, or until the writers decide not to. But I think that'd be really stupid of them to do so. I don't think we'll see him anytime soon. I don't know about you.
Well, he made that agreement when Stephen Strange had the Time Stone, and now that the Infinity Stones are pretty much destroyed, what does Doctor Strange have in his arsenal to hold him back?
Good point.
And now that we haven't got a Time Stone, there could be perhaps a brief encounter in the next Doctor Strange movie with this multiverse.
I personally can't see him being in that.
Definitely an avenue. But there's definitely avenues in the future for him to come back and become a new kind of challenge for Stephen Strange to get over without the Time Stone.
I agree with you on that. I just don't want him to come back to Earth. Like regarding Multiverse of Madness, he's had his film. It was in the first Stephen Strange movie. I don't want him to come back. We've got Mordo, who we'll mention shortly, will be likely to come back. He's going to be the thorn in Stephen Strange's side. But with regarding Dormammu, this is one of the few villains there's so many spectral space type villains out there, Galactus and so on. So with regarding Dormammu, I will happily, I'm fine with never seeing him again. But if he does come back, I'm fine with that too. But I just can't really think of him coming back in any other capacity other than Stephen Strange, and I can't see him coming back in the next film. That's the thing. I mean, obviously, there could be something alongside Wanda could bring him back, I guess, in some capacity.
There could be some type of spatial
Maybe
supervillain
Agatha.
team up.
Yeah, but he's more. But But he's not.
Maybe
He's not.
something like
He doesn't come across as like a space villain. He's more of a interdimensional.
space entity.
Yeah, but anyway, regarding him, um, I'm not so fussed regarding him. Let's move on. This is the guy who we'll definitely see again. He will definitely be in Stephen Strange 2, Doctor Strange 2, because Kevin Feige said he would be. He showed the list of actors. He showed the main actors, who were there, like the actor. I forgot her name now. She's been in so many movies. She was in the Sherlock Holmes films as well. Funny enough, and she played. It's funny that she played Sherlock Holmes' girlfriend in that film, and now he's playing Sherlock Holmes' girlfriend in this movie. That was the Sherlock Holmes I'm talking about is Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
She was in those films.
Is she in this one?
Yeah, she played the girlfriend in the first film.
Yeah, she was the nurse.
Yeah, the nurse or doctor.
Good spot.
But she's in it as well. Obviously, Benedict Wong's in it as well. So, but yeah, Carl Modo is the magician who doesn't like people using magic. I'm gonna see how that is. I have to be honest with you. That ending where he takes that guy's, he takes the magic that healed him away from him. I think the name of the actor was Benjamin Bratt. He done that too. That left a sour taste in my mouth, but I accepted it. That's how it is. It's not everything's a happy ending. That was a horrible thing to do, man. He paralyzed the guy again. Like, shit.
By taking away his magic, that's all he really did. Because it was using magic to kind of get his mobility back.
He's definitely going to be a thorn in Stephen Strange's side. I can't see Strange killing him either. I think he'll be, I'll see you again, Stephen Strange, and he like opens a portal and fucks off. I think he's going to be like that. But I would like to see Carl Mordo be a thorn in other people's sides, not just Stephen Strange's side. I want him to like pop up.
Like Wong.
Well, no, not Wong. No. I mean, no, other MCU characters like I mentioned Rhodey in Armor Wars. I like him to be involved in that somehow. Like just for some way, make it plausible that he is the villain for an episode of Armor Wars. For one of the episodes.
It's got to be magic related because his issue is people using magic that they don't.
No, I agree, but they can just write something. You know what I mean? Just make it. But you want to see the crossovers. You know what I mean? And even though he's a Stephen Strange villain, I would love to see him bump heads with a lot of the other good guys in the MCU. So that's how I want to see him.
With Wonder or something.
No, I agree, but I do want him to cross over with somebody who you wouldn't associate him with, hence Rhodey. Maybe in Loki. That would be a great way to put him, to use him.
Awesome.
Loki would be an awesome way because villain versus villain, So that'll be interesting.
Magician versus magician.
But we will see him again in Doctor Strange 2, but I just want to see him in other stuff because the actor himself who plays Carl Mordo, I'm going to give his name a shot here. Chiwetel Ejiofor. I can never say it properly. He's a British actor, by the way. British actor. He was so good in Four Brothers, man. When he played the gangster boss in Four Brothers with Mark Wahlberg, he was so good in that.
Don't think I saw it.
Yeah, I didn't. My mate had to tell me this guy's not American. He's British. Oh shit, I had no idea. Anyway, Michael Keaton's Vulture. He also lived. He's in jail right now, but he's going down a sort of grey area anti-hero route, so to speak, because he's not giving up Peter's identity. He's keeping that to himself, and that's a big deal. But then again, it's no longer a big deal because everyone knows who the fuck he is now. So that doesn't mean shit, which is probably why that bargaining chip won't mean fuck for him anymore, and he'll probably think, you know what, I'm just trying to take Peter out and join the Sinister Six, which is when I think we'll possibly see him next. I know there's a cameo of him in the Morbius film, the one which is made by Sony. The guy he's got Jared Leto, the guy who plays the Joker in the Schneider films. He plays Morbius. He's like a sort of like a doctor who's very weak and timid. He's got like some sort of disease, and he ends up getting. He finds these bats, and these bats give him power, but he has to he becomes almost like a vampire in a way. He needs blood from people and shit to keep him strong and stuff.
That's pretty funky.
But it's a Sony. But the thing is, Spider-Man: Homecoming, even though it's in the MCU, it's a Sony film. He is owned by Sony, Vulture, the character. So they then used that character, Vulture, and they put him in a cameo of Morbius, which is very cheeky of Sony because they're basically trying to make Morbius look like it's in the MCU when it's just a Sony film. You know?
Yep.
Very cheeky. Nevertheless.
I didn't see it.
But yeah, he's in that as well, by the way. So that's when we'll see him next, in Morbius. But that's not necessarily the MCU. So it'll be interesting to see when we'll see him next in the MCU. There is a third Spider-Man coming out. Will we see him in that in some capacity? I doubt it.
Might be a bit too soon with all of the other stuff going on.
The Spider-Verse stuff and shit. You know, but yeah.
But then Spider-Man is known for having to tackle more than one villain at a time. So
Well, he's got the Sinister
I doubt
Six.
we'll see it.
But the Sinister Six...
I doubt we'll see him in the next Spider-Man movie.
See,
Maybe in the next...
the Spider-Man films is a bit of a weird thing because it's, you know, when Spider-Man's part of an ensemble which is not all owned by Sony, yeah, so when he's part of the Avengers and stuff, yeah, it's a different kettle of fish to when he's got his own film. So it's just
If
like,
anything, we're more likely to see him outside of an MCU related film, so perhaps more in line with Venom and the way they're going in that type of direction.
I just feel like, you know, when it comes to the Sinister Six, which will be the 6 bad guys who get together to take on Spider-Man, and Vulture is one of them. That will be a Sony film. It won't be an MCU movie. I mean, it will be an MCU film if they try to make it that. It's really confusing, but it's just, we just don't know what the fuck's going on. Like Venom, he might be an MCU character at some point. But I thought that Venom movie, even though it did well in the box office, I really thought it was fucking shit. Anyway, let's move on. All right, so we've got the supporting cast of Spider-Man: Homecoming. So we got Shocker, Tinkerer, and the Prowler. Now the Tinkerer was the guy in the chair, that fat geezer who was welding stuff together. He had the visor over his head. He was just one of the many people in Michael Keaton's conglomerate, his group. You know, some of them were the more heavier guys. He was the technical geezer. He's the Tinkerer. Shocker was that black actor who ended up being Shocker. He's still around. And sorry, he's been in it. No, I'm not sure about if he's no. He's not Dave Chappelle. He looks a bit like him though, but he's shorter. And he's been in a few films. He was in the remake of Total Recall as well. I forgot the actor's name. But then you've got what's his fucking name? Goddamn, Glover. Donald Glover. I'm about to say. I keep thinking Danny Glover, but no, Donald Glover. I kept saying, don't say Danny Glover. Do not say Danny Glover. You know, yeah, Donald Glover. Yeah. He plays the uncle of Miles Morales. Thank you for saving me there. And they had a little interaction in Homecoming. You know, I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. I'm a man. Spider-Man was telling him all that shit while he had his hand webbed and stuff. But he is the Prowler. Will we see Donald Glover as the Prowler? I doubt it.
I think they're leading up to it.
I think this is a long way away, mate. Honestly, this is miles. This is a long way away. I'm about to say miles away, Miles Morales away. This is miles away, as far as I'm concerned, because I still think they're dealing with Spider-Man, Peter Parker still. So I don't even know about this, man. I mean, if anything,
don't forget, Spider-Man ruined his ice cream, so he's gonna have to ruin Spider-Man.
It's just that if they do this, it'll be Sony who does it and not Disney, Marvel, or anything. It'll be their shit. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Anyway,
This isn't a Kevin Feige type
yeah.
character at the minute.
All right, let's move on. Oh, we've got some more fucking Spider-Man here. Scorpion, look at this geezer. He's got scars. He must be bad because people with scars are bad people. You know, I mean, I hate that trope. I hate that trope. Hollywood's been doing that trope for fucking ever, man. You know, it's a really terrible trope in my opinion. I need to stop that shit. But maybe if
he's also got the Scorpion tattoo on, isn't it?
I agree. I'm not sure if Scorpion. I'm not sure if the character of Scorpion is a scarred character. If so, then all right, stick with it. Just stick with the material, I guess. But I don't give a fuck about Scorpion. I mean, once he's in,
We haven't really had anything other than a cameo in an after credit scene.
we haven't even had him as Scorpion.
Really,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
He wasn't Scorpion in the first. There was no Scorpion in the first one, was there? Am I missing? Yeah.
We haven't seen him at all. All we've had is that one cameo in the after credits.
Bollocks.
He faces off with what's his name? I've lost his name. That's the only.
Oh yeah, like I think this picture's that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what his beef with? He's got beef with Spider-Man, but there's nothing alluded in any of the stories that we've seen on the big screen to kind of give us a clue. So if anything, there's like an accidental vendetta that we haven't really hasn't properly been exposed.
Well, I want to move on from this prick. Oh. Excuse me. Here's a big fat juicy one. Sator. Is that how you say his name?
I think so.
Sator. Now, this guy fucking destroyed Thor's homeworld.
It's just Thor at the end going, big monster.
I was thinking, I was just like Korg. I was thinking, yeah, Korg, you're absolutely right, mate. I know he's burnt everything to the ground, but the ground is still there. You know, you can still rebuild. It will take a while, but you can still start again from scratch. But no, he puts the sword through and everything blows up. Now, didn't he die with the planet? So I'm not sure, or what? Because
well, that's the thing. At the end of the film, I mean, if he's strong enough to put his sword through the planet and blow it up, is he strong enough to absorb that energy and not get destroyed by it? I mean, he does have the never-ending fire, the eternal flame within him.
So where does he end up?
Some type of immortality.
We didn't see him, like, once that planet was gone, he was gone. Like, I'm surprised he's on this list because, come to think of it, he might be dead. He was just fulfilling his destiny.
It's the eternal. That's the only thing I can think of. It's got to be the eternal flame connection.
If we see him again, it's going to be obviously it'll be one of the space things. There's only 2 or 3 candidates for him to be in. The most obvious is in 4, but I'm not sure if he'll be in Love and Thunder. But they're thinking about bringing on somebody called the God Butcher, which will be played by Christian Bale. This person who he basically somebody who hates all these people who are deemed as gods, all these super powered aliens, and he goes around killing them, and obviously Thor being one of them. If this God Butcher ends up killing this guy, then people will take him seriously. So that would be a good way to introduce Sator back to be the canon for the God Butcher character played by Christian Bale in the Thor movie. But apparently Jane Austen, Natalie Portman's character, is going to be the new Thor. So there's a lot of shit they've got to throw in there. I think even some Guardians are going to be in there for a bit as well. So from some of the set shots I've seen, but I saw Chris Pratt on set. Okay, the Grand Master.
There'll be some type of crossover.
Yeah, a little, because they did end with him leaving with the Guardians, so I think they have to address that. So the Grand Master. Now, if you're going to bring back anybody at all, yeah, I'm not talking about character. I'm talking about actor. You got to bring back Jeff fucking Goldblum, man. You know, he is the Grand Master. In every
Didn't he ad-lib half of his lines?
I wouldn't be surprised. But the same way Tony Stark is fucking Robert Downey Jr., the Grand Master is fucking Jeff Goldblum to a T. And there's nothing better than just somebody playing a character which is like wearing warm slippers for fuck's sake. And this is this is a character I want to see come back. I want to see maybe get a little bit of his comeuppance, but I still want him to be an arrogant prick and just fucking, having the time of his life at the expense of others and not learn his lesson.
This guy's got beef with two characters. I mean, he's got beef with Thor and he's got beef with Valkyrie.
Yeah, Valkyrie
so
for sure.
Of those two things, you could see him being one of the.
I would say he's got beef with Banner as well. He's got beef with Banner more than because he.
Banner was his. Yeah, but Banner was his big thing, and he looks at Banner being taken by Thor rather than Thor going off with, rather than Thor and Banner going together. So he might realize later on down the line, but at least I think at this point in his mind, Thor's the guy that stole his champion.
I think if we're gonna see Grandmaster again, I think we need to see him in something like Captain Marvel 2. I think that's the best way to bring him back, in my opinion. Like, obviously he's got the connection with Thor, but now let's see him with some other people. Like some other people in space. I mean, Captain Marvel 2 would seem an obvious one. Guardians of the Galaxy was like the way he does is his humor, and Guardians of the Galaxy tries to be quite funny a lot of the times. That would work quite well. So I think those two, more than Thor, in my opinion, would be the best way to see him. I don't know if you agree.
I kind of think the best way to bring him back would be to have him kill Valkyrie.
Kill Valkyrie? That goes against
Thor
this.
Then Thor has to avenge Valkyrie's death. That would be
No, man. I don't want that, man. I don't want that. I don't want this really popular character to be killed for Thor to be. I'd rather if they're going to kill off someone, kill off that girl who was part of his crew, who didn't get killed by Hela, by the way, in 4-3. Kill her off because she's fucking useless. But not Valkyrie. Not Valkyrie, man. I think this story, she's just been made king of Asgard. You know what I mean? There's a lot of story. There's story to come from there, man. But yeah, I want to see him in Captain Marvel 2 or Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Let's move on. Oh boy, here's a good one. Here's a good one. Red Skull. I'm really disappointed how Marvel have used this amazingly popular, amazingly deep, and amazingly powerful. We're talking, when I say Thanos level powerful, I mean I'm talking in the sense of like tier. We're talking the tiers here, yeah. If there's a tier list of like,
Thanos showed him respect.
Well, no, I'm just saying, if there's a tier list of bad guys, he's the top tier. Like he'll be in that top tier with Doctor Doom and Thanos and all those guys, but not in the MCU because unfortunately he's only had one fucking film and he's been turned into a goddamn messenger, in Infinity Wars and Endgame. So he's been used very poorly in the MCU. I do not like how they've used him. Not a bad guy as good as this. This guy's a fucking Nazi, with superpowers. He doesn't give a fuck about race. He has mentioned that. Yeah, but he still gives a fuck about world domination. So yeah, but, and he still works with fucking Nazis. It's not like he's got any remorse for that. So nevertheless, he needs to come back. I just can't figure it. I can't. As someone as big as him, how do you bring him back? I mean, in what capacity?
I mean, now that he's turned into this kind of protector of
not anymore
of the Soul Stone. I mean, yeah, he's just been freed again of being the master of the Soul Stone, or at least the messenger for the Soul Stone. But they kind of from Captain America, the First Avenger, to Endgame, we're seeing two different types of Red Skull. The only thing that's the same is his face, but his mannerism, the way he was talking, it's like a character redevelopment. So something would have to happen to kind of
I think
bring him back into the evil side.
I still think he's I still think he's an opportunistic person. But at the same time, being stuck on a rock for God knows how many years he has will change you until maybe opportunities start rising again. And then when that happens, then he'll go back to his old ways. Personally, Red Skull's not on Earth. He's in space. So if they're gonna start doing shit with Red Skull, make him a space villain. It's not fun. It's not ideal in a way because he's always been an Earth-based villain, and he's only actually had. It's a shame that we've seen Captain America in so many different fucking films in the MCU, and he's only come across the Red Skull once. It's ridiculous. In one movie, the first.
The only thing I can think of, the way the MCU could use him, would be perhaps with Sword. If they start going out into space and doing a bit of exploration, it could be a nice way to kind of marry the two.
Yeah, well, you got me.
Two groups together.
You know the Secret Invasion Wars. I mean, somebody like him, in charge of like an evil set of Skrulls, or something along those lines. Like he would be good because I mean, it's funny talking about Red Skull in the capacity of him being a space villain. But this is where he's at this moment. He's on another fucking planet the last time we saw him, And so, if that's how they're going to use him, once again, Captain Marvel 2 would be a good way to bring him in, as well as Guardians 3, possibly.
I think that would just fill up the card too much.
No, I'm just talking. I'm not saying about every person all of them should be in there, but if they are going to show up, individually and not as a collective, or even different times in the film, I wouldn't want that either. If Red Skull's going to be in fucking Guardians 3, I wouldn't want the Grand Master to be in there. That'd be just ridiculous. At the same time, as he is in space, all I can think of is 4 Guardians and Captain Marvel, as well as Sword and Secret Invasions and shit like that. He's in space, so what else could it be?
At the same time, he's still got beef with Cap. And if anything, I'd like to see those two have a run too.
I would like to see that too, but maybe he could. I mean, regarding that, maybe Bucky would be a good alternative, a good person. But Bucky would know him, Bucky's also of a similar. He's a super soldier himself. That would be good for me. I'd be happy with that. Bucky versus Red Skull, if he somehow comes back to Earth.
Well, but now you mentioned it, Bucky avenging Captain America for being frozen under the ice for 70 years would make a nice storyline.
Yeah, I for sure. All right, but yeah, Red Skull. It's unfortunate what's happened to him so far, but you can also blame Hugo Weaving to a degree because he didn't something. I don't exactly remember or recall what it was, but he didn't enjoy either being in that makeup or the script or how he was being used or what he was being paid. There's so many different stories, and we never got him back. And then because of that, he was kind of written out, and they answered the question about where he was. At least it was answered. It's just a shame that this is what he's become. Let's move on. Oh, here's somebody I don't give a flying fuck about. Yeah, I mean, I actually can't even remember this character. I can like Ant-Man and the Wasp is a really, really terrible fucking MCU film. It's really bad. I can understand when you saw it before I did, Ray, and I said, let's watch it again. And you were reluctant to watch it. Because if somebody's reluctant to watch it, it must be shit. You know what I mean? Like, if you were watching maybe Avengers Infinity War for the second time, and it was the second time was me coming around to watch it for the first time, I'm sure you would be happy to watch it again. So for you to not watch...
Maybe for the third and fourth time.
Exactly. So for you to not want to watch fucking Ant-Man and the Wasp for the second time means it made me realise, oh shit, this film's shit. You know what I mean? So when I ended up watching it, it had some good moments, like when Scott Lang was getting like middle-sized and shit like that. He was like the size of a child, and stuff like that. There were some good moments, and some of the fight scenes were pretty cool. But it was pretty much a Wasp movie. Anyway, regardless of all that, the Ghost character.
I think Ghost wasn't a villain for the...
A misunderstood person.
Trying to save herself.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the film, they kind of...
What happened?
Rectify her problem.
What happened? I can't remember.
She needed a special type of energy to stabilize her. And so Ant-Man had to go into the...
Quantum realm?
Into the quantum realm to get quantum energy. and then he handed the energy off to
Hank.
Hank Pym's wife or Hank, and then they went out to kind of save her. So she was more of a reluctant villain.
So
How
what happened with Ghost at the end? Like at the very end, like did she just? Was there still bad blood, or was like she's smiling and everyone's cool now, or what happened?
I can't fucking remember.
I can't remember either, but that film was so shit, and it wasn't even that long ago. You know, what I mean, this is one of the few. This was the film right before fucking Endgame.
The only thing is, I've never really liked the Ant-Man films.
I love the
I know
first
they
one.
used Ant-Man 1 to kind of show a bit of Hydra, but it never really appealed to me.
I love Ant-Man.
On like second or third viewings, I kind of appreciate it now, but it's not something I ever turn to and go, right, I want to put that on because anything spectacular. I mean, Michael Douglas is the best thing about that.
No, I like the fact that it's not it you know it literally brings things down. It small scale things, and for and with all the razzmatazz you get with in the Marvel universe, taking it in the other direction and doing it well. I mean, some of the I mean, like when it comes to the first Ant-Man, my God, like some of the set pieces are just absolutely amazing. You know, just some of the like the one part where they're like in a bag or something like that, and somebody's phone goes off, and you can hear the music from the phone as him and Yellow Jacket are fighting and shit in this guy's bag or whatever. It's like, what the hell?
But that's my point about that film. The things you remember are the kind of set pieces, the gags. It's not really the story. You don't think about, you don't appreciate the villain. He's nothing more than a corporate entity.
I agree. Well, a lot of villains are like that, I would
It's not
say.
even ideology kind of trying to do anything good.
Look, I do agree, but I do feel, I do feel a lot of villains in the MCU are quite shit anyway. At the same time, I do feel Ant-Man was a very good film, but somehow Ant-Man and the Wasp wasn't, and I'm really upset. It was a bad film, and this character, the Ghost, I mean, she can be a ghost as far as I'm concerned. I don't give a fuck what she turns up in next.
You know what?
Maybe Moon Knight.
The only
Moon Knight. I'm gonna say that Moon Knight. He's like a Batman who wears white, who wants to be seen instead of being hidden. Yeah,
okay.
and he might not be. He might be a real vigilante, or he might be this. All of this shit might be the manifestation of the person who thinks he's this person. You know what I mean? It might be all in his mind. It never gets. It's not revealed yet. It depends on which versions you look at in the comics. I guess I'm very unfamiliar with this character of Moon Knight, but if she was going to come back in anything, that would be it. But I don't know if she is still a bad guy. Let me read this.
When it comes to the Ant-Man, for me, the only way they become relevant is their tie-in with Endgame. If it wasn't for that tie-in, I don't even think I can really care too much about the Ant-Man saga at all.
Fair enough. Yeah, I
They
totally.
kind of made it relevant.
No, I agree. I mean, the tie-ins are nice, but like I said, if I thought the first one was really good, I thought the second one was really shit. But let me remind myself of what happened with this character, because I totally forgot, because she's forgettable. Ava Star Hannah John Kamen debuted in Ant-Man and the Wasp as the Ghost, who has the ability to render herself intangible after she was exposed to massive quantum energy levels that killed her parents. No wonder she's got the shits against people. Her fucking parents were killed. A common trope for people in comic books, by the way. Pitting her against the titular characters whose main power is shrinking made for some impressive action sequences in the Peyton Reed film. It eventually revealed that Ghost was only after the Pims. After the Pims. I'm thinking after the Pims and the quantum tunnel to save herself after learning that she's slowly dying due to a lack of quantum energy. Thanks to Janet Van Dyne, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, she was able to be healed, and the post-credits scene for the film revealed that the Pims and Scott Lang, Paul Rudd were still helping her. That said, given the events of the Avengers Infinity War, it's intriguing to think what happened to her since she had no source of quantum energy after Ant-Man was trapped inside the quantum realm. Good point. Good point, actually. I'm glad I read that. I'm glad I read that. Yeah. I don't care.
left it open for her to be able to be villainous again because she needs more quantum energy.
I totally understand, but she would be quite... At the same time, not saying villainous again, like she's got a grudge, but she would be aware that there's a snap. And maybe... Did she get blipped herself? I mean... They could...
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? So, I hope she did, because if she did, then it makes things a lot easier to fucking deal with. Because then she'd have come back when everyone else did, and she'd be fine. Alright, let's move on. I can't stand this character. I really can't stand this character. Somebody else I can't stand. An actor I absolutely love. Absolutely love, but this mafia bad guy trope, oh my god. Awful. Awful. And, Walter Goggins, who's a tremendously good actor. Fucking brilliant actor. Having to resort to this comedy bad guy. You know, he's like the Justin Hammer of mafia bosses. Yeah, so he's... Yeah.
He's another one of these forgetful people from the Ant-Man universe.
I would like to see Jimmy Woo deal with him in some capacity. If we do see Sonny Birch come back, I don't want him to see him in the films. I want him to see him in the TV shows. Maybe She-Hulk, maybe Ms. Marvel. He'll be a good villain for Ms. Marvel. You know, something along those lines, I think. He'll be a recognizable villain, and I think he'll be perfect as the first sort of stepping stone villain for Ms. Marvel to deal with, like, you know, a local mob boss who's making a community a hell to live in or some shit like that. I know he lives in a different town to Ms. Marvel, but they could fucking just write something. You know, fucking Jimmy Woo ended up in New Jersey, for fuck's sake. So just write something, you know what I mean? No problem.
Oh, I mean, Jimmy Woo is FBI, so he can go anywhere in the USA.
Yeah, I agree, but like I said, just write something and get him, make him the bad guy from Ms. Marvel, and that's where I would like to see him next. Because, like I said, he's still alive, he's still a bad guy, he's still, you know, in the MCU. Use him in some capacity, use him in that capacity. But it's Walter Goggins. If it wasn't Walter Goggins, I probably wouldn't give a fuck about Sonny Birch. But because I like Walter Goggins so much, that's where I would like to see him. All right, you ready to move on?
Oh, hell yeah. Totally forget the character in my heart.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Here's a really good one. Yonrog. Now, I've actually had Jude Law's housekeeper in my car, in my cab. Really nice, and I was really happy. I was really happy to hear that Jude Law is a really nice guy, because, you know, sometimes people come across as nice guys, but you're not so sure. Jude Law comes across as a nice guy. Yeah. So to find out that he is a nice guy, was really happy to hear that, you know, from this customer who's in my cab. But Ron, one of the people I was thinking about who's still alive, you know, at the end of Captain Marvel, you know, he got made Captain Marvel's bitch and got thrown into a little spaceship and sent back to whoever, you know, to give the bad news. Yeah, he did. I think if we see this character again, we won't see him in any sort of menacing capacity. I think he'll be somebody that will be played for laughs. He'll be looked down on, and they'll take the piss out of, because he cannot step up to Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel will own him every time, you know, unless he comes across some sort of major power. Once again, I wouldn't want, because we're dealing with space here and crossovers and shit like that. If we do see him again, I don't want him to see him in Captain Marvel. If we see him again, maybe he can bump into the Guardians. Maybe he can bump into Thor. Those lot, you know. That's the whole point of this universe. Bump into different people. In what capacity and what does he do? I have no fucking idea what does he do. I mean, what do you think we can get out of this guy?
I mean, to begin with, he's probably going to be the Kree's version of an alcoholic. Who even thinking about the good old days before he got his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
So it could be like a redemption story for him.
I wouldn't mind that.
Gets himself out the gutter.
I wouldn't mind a redemption story for him, but I wouldn't want him to necessarily be full on good guy. More like somebody who is, I wouldn't say anti-hero, but definitely in the middle area. He's not going to like do good stuff for people, but he does get himself out the gutter. I like the sound of that, Ray. I do. I definitely like. I want to see him in the gutter, and I want to see him get out of it. And I like those Sith eyes he has, by the way, which is pretty cool. But he's also, by the way, like I said, he's out of all the villains out there, we're talking like, you know, memorable ones. He's definitely one of them I would love to see come back. I really want to see something from this guy, in any capacity.
Jude Law played him.
It's Jude Law.
Was an absolutely brilliant actor. And to see him kind of double down and really get into a comic book movie and take it seriously.
Yeah.
I really believed that he was the leader of that group, and you felt that he thought he was doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Stupid queer or whatever it was.
Well, let's move on from him. Okay, I think we're on the last one here. You'll be happy to know. And I think this is a good one to finish on as well. We're talking about the man himself, arguably the most, resilient of bad guys. So much so that he's back from the fucking dead, in a different capacity, in a different version of him, but he's still alive in some way or some form or another. And we know when we're going to see him next. We're going to see him in his own show. I mean, he's that good of a bad guy that he's got his own fucking show. There's still question marks over Wanda, but Loki definitely, in my opinion, is a villain. And especially the Loki who is in this show, because he's the Loki straight after Avengers Assemble, where he was 100% bad guy. Yeah. So this bad guy Loki is getting his own show, and it's going to be very interesting to see what characteristics we're going to get out of him. If you recall in Thor: The Dark World, he kind of started becoming, there was some redemption in him because of the remorse he felt over his mum being killed. Not just dying naturally, being murdered. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you can see there was a change coming in him from there, but he's not experiencing that in this.
No, he's still angry at Thor and still angry at Odin.
Yeah, he's still very bitter. Still very bitter character with a grudge. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use him. Now, regarding this show, I have no idea what it's about, but it's going to be, from what I can see, and this is just me theorizing, it looks like this sort of time travel authority, or whatever it's called, is going to be making Loki do missions for them in different time zones, or in different when I say different time zones, I mean different time periods, and in maybe different parallel universes as well. But I do feel at some point we're going to see a grand master plan from Loki where he ends up fucking over the people who he's working for, if you know what I mean. He is the MCU Joker, you know what I mean, without a doubt. He's the Joker of the Marvel universe, and I just feel that in order for us to have a show about Loki, we need him to somehow come out as the winner, and for these people who are forcing him to do what they want him to, what they want to do, they're making him do it. I feel Loki's somehow going to turn the tables on them in some way and end up being the winner of this. And maybe even take over that time authority thing or whatever, who knows. But he's going to be coming out trumps in this for sure. But that's what he's going to be in next. Are you looking forward to the show? I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes. I mean, the character of Loki just got better and better with each film. And although we're going back to the Loki, which is my least favourite variation, he's still a great villain in the first Avenger kind of tie-up movie. Just everything he does is like what Hawkeye says, "I need an eye," and he just kind of goes and gets it. You just see he's ruthless. So to go back to this ruthless version, there's no line he won't cross. It's going to be fantastic.
Right up to the moment he died, by Thanos, you couldn't tell what Loki was doing. You know what I mean? You couldn't tell. He's such a double cross. He's such a fucking turncoat, and that's what makes him such a great villain. That even if you think there's a redemption angle for him, you just don't know. Yeah, he might be just playing it for laughs and shit. This motherfucker, yeah, he put his dad in a hex somewhere and made him a beggar on Earth, for fuck's sake, while he pretended to be his dad. He pretended to be his dad, yeah, and rule fucking Asgard. You know, it's gonna be interesting. The fact that he can be anybody he wants to be will definitely be a prominent thing for sure. I feel that's going to come into play on a few occasions in this show. That's kind of his main superpower, isn't it? That he can, he's like Mystique. He can resemble anybody he wants.
He can create multiple versions of
Yeah, he can multiple versions of himself, and he's strong as well. He's not a weakling.
Him and Thor have their little moment where he kind of you're watching him, but suddenly he's turned into like an illusion version. You don't even see like his real corporeal stuff kind of disappear and do something else.
Sorry, I just saw a comment. I should be keeping an eye on these things, but I don't get many comments. But AJ just said hello, AJ. By the way, but he said hello, Zam. Hope the stream has gone well. Yes, it has gone well, mate. It has gone well. Yeah. So Loki comes out in June, I believe. Can't wait for it to come out. I'm actually looking forward to that more than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Just to, before we sign off, because we have finished this, Falcon and Winter Soldier is coming out, and I'm concerned about that show because a lot of us were kind of concerned about WandaVision and it might be shit, and it ended up being a lot better than, because it was like, for me, I knew it was going to be good. I knew WandaVision was going to be good. I knew about the premises, the slow burn, a mind fuck of a story that will leave you confused, but eventually you'll get enough answers to keep you satisfied, which is what it gave us, But a lot of people are already thinking that Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be a really good show. And for that reason, it concerns me, because people are already thinking it's good. And we haven't even and we haven't seen it yet, and I'm a bit worried that it might not be as good as we all anticipate it to be. So I'm going in there with I'm not anticipating as much. Let me rephrase myself. Compared to the other people, and if anything, I'm going to go in there with a negative mindset and hope I get a good fucking show. But regarding Loki, I'm going in there with a positive mindset. I think it's going to be good. We're talking Tom Hiddleston here, man. This guy's got this guy has finally got his own fucking show, a top tier show in Marvel. So I'm really happy for a British actor as well. You're playing a bad guy, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. I'm really looking forward to that. A show about a villain. Oh man, I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's gonna be so fucking good. Anyway, Ray. So go on.
When it comes to the TV series, I'm going into all of them blind. So I haven't watched any of the trailers or had any kind of behind the scenes stuff. So when I first watched WandaVision, the first 2 episodes, it kind of left me scratching my head going, what the fuck is going on? What have I got myself into here? And again, I haven't bothered looking at anything. So if anything, I'm looking forward to Loki for no other reason than Tom Hiddleston.
Fair enough. You know what? I wish I was a little bit more like you. I get lured in the trailer just for the sake of making sure that I'm still keeping up with the Joneses, so nothing passes me by. But unlike most people, I don't watch every fucking trailer out there for the same film. Like Godzilla vs. Kong has had about 15 million trailers for it. I've only seen I think I saw 2. I saw a teaser trailer and a proper trailer, because the teaser trailer doesn't tell you shit. It's like you see a fucking little fin and you see a little hand or a big hand. Yeah, Godzilla versus Kong. What the fuck is that? That's nothing. Yeah, sometimes it's good to get a decent trailer that doesn't give anything away. Star Wars trailers were the best for that, by the way. They never gave anything away regarding the storylines and stuff like that. And that kind of, I just want a visual idea of what I'm getting myself into, because it's just something, like that, and that's all I want. But I don't want, like for instance, the trailer done by for Batman versus Superman, they showed off fucking Doomsday in that trailer. What the fuck were they thinking? What the fuck were they thinking?
They wanted to show the difference between the two. They wanted to go to the casual audience that doesn't know what's going on.
Mate,
That
this is
never
Batman versus
knows
Superman.
more.
Mate, this is Batman versus Superman. This is where like the fucking greedy fuckers, yeah, don't realize. Yeah, this is Batman versus Superman. That is going to sell, man. You know what I mean? The Batman versus yeah, and then like I always thought, in my opinion, is that if they never gave so much shit away in the trailers, maybe people would have come out of that film with a spring in their step. But knowing that Doomsday was going to appear meant that okay, there's no secret surprising moment. Oh shit, Doomsday! Like you never got that. You know, look at all the
Yeah,
great
because the
moments.
studio.
Look at the Evan Peters reveal in One Division. Come on, would the if that was if everyone knew about that before you know if it was publicly known and a trailer was brought out by Marvel showing that, that Evan Peters will be on next week or whatever, that would have ruined that moment big time. You know what I mean? We would have had that moment watching the fucking trailer. You know what I mean?
My take on trailers is when a studio puts out 1,000 trailers for the same film, you know they're worried about it. And when it came to WandaVision, you know the MCU has nothing to worry about. They're confident in their storytelling, they're confident in their characters. They didn't even have to put a trailer out, and they knew that every MCU fan was going to be in there watching.
Yeah, mate. Because they bring out good shit. We just seen One Division. It was epic. I've actually had not an argument, but I spoke to. I hope Bobby Black's watching this. But I told Bobby Black, yeah, that you know what? I want Disney to buy DC. Yeah, and like he doesn't want that to happen because he wants competition. I agree. I want competition. I agree. I want competition too. But unfortunately, the competition is making shit. Yeah, and Disney's making great stuff. You know, as much as we don't like to maybe even admit, some people don't want to admit to that. Yes, they're going to make shit as well, but at least they counter it with good quality stuff. You know, their Marvel stuff, their comic book stuff is excellent. And they've got a girth of material from Marvel. They've got a girth of material if they buy fucking DC. You know, all types of shit. Unfortunately, it might not be necessarily the ideal choice because DC stuff tends to be a lot darker, you know. But I think Disney can pull off some dark shit too. It's not too difficult, I guess. But nevertheless,
There's a lot to choose. I mean, they've got to fix Star Wars for one.
yeah, no, but they do, yeah,
Outstanding
but they're already doing a good job now with the Mandalorian, which was exceptional, you know. And look, they did 3 stupid films which they had no idea what the fuck they were doing. It was on a wing and a prayer, but the other stuff, it's been good, and that's all I can say. It's been good, you know, and it's making me look forward. I mean, I didn't think Solo was too bad, and Rogue One wasn't too bad. You know, I thought Solo was, in my opinion, out of all the stuff, all the films Disney have made, Solo for me was the best of the lot. A lot of people like Rogue One, but only like the last third. I thought the opening parts of it was awful with the fucking mind monster and Forrest Whitaker's voice just drove me crazy, and how everyone gets together and shit just like that, and next thing you know it's Dirty Dozen. But when it did become Dirty Dozen, it was good. I just wish everyone knew each other before. It would have been a lot better in the writing. But we're talking about all types of shit. We're going on some serious tangents here. Let's wrap this up, yeah? Alright. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment as well. Let us know what you think of what we thought about regarding all these villains who are still alive in the MCU. When will we see them again? Hopefully it'll be very soon. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.
Bye for now.
And we're